For another hour here on Talking Ball, we were talking about the transfer portal to end hour number one, but that was the transfer portal in terms of college football and college basketball. The transfer portal has been very active, and it was active for Alabama over the last 48 hours.
It really was. Really, it's been just a little over a week. I believe it was a week ago Thursday that our next guest went into the transfer portal after putting together two amazing seasons in the MAC at Ohio University for the Bobcats. But we were very familiar with him here in North Alabama. He had played in the Huntsville City Classic. He led his team as an 8th grader, helped lead them to the state championship game. In 6A basketball, they upset a really, really good Lee team over at Wallace State Hanceville. I was there for that game. He spent 4 years there and then transferred his senior season to Hargrave Military Academy, leading them to a 37-4 record and a top 4 finish in the Prep National Championships, the Prep School National Championships, before signing with Ohio University. Was an all-MAC selection as a freshman, averaging over 8.5 points per game, and then this year exploding into one of the best guards in college basketball, averaging 19.7 points per game, in 4 assists, and he is now committed to come home and finish his career at the University of Alabama. And it's an honor for us to be the first radio interview for our next guest who's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and that is Mark Sears, who's with us now this morning. Mark, welcome to the show. Good morning. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, big, interesting time. And what's it like when you put your name into the portal?
It's like being recruited all over again. So you got to wait 2 days, and then once the two business days go by, it's like being in high school getting recruited all over again.
Yeah, and Mark, I know for you, being the great player that you were at Muscle Shoals, you transferred to Hargrave Military Academy to help boost your recruitment and get yourself even more exposure, because I know you felt like you were kind of overlooked even when you were in high school. But now, with all the hard work you've put in, both at Muscle Shoals and then the year you did at Hargrave, and now proving yourself on the Division I level at Ohio, this kind of probably, I know it was a little overwhelming, all the interest you got, because I saw the list of schools, and I know from people that know your family, your parents were just amazed and blown away at the interest that you got. But it had to have been very gratifying for all the grind and the work you put in to finally, I guess, get the interest I know that you really had coveted as a player.
Yes, correct. I mean, it was very hard earned. Just to have all those schools contact me, it was a blessing, and I enjoyed all the processes that I went through in order to get here.
Well, Mark, the journey to this point, it has been long. It has been tough. You get to Ohio first, and, I mean, things got off to an okay start. But really, when things started clicking, you never gave up faith. And that faith in God really helped you deliver there at Ohio. You stayed strong in your faith, and that really kind of got you on track there with the Bobcats.
Right, because when I first got here, I didn't play for the first 5 games. Those were DNP games. So when I just knew when my opportunity came that I was going to take it away and run with it, and that came. And after that, I can just say it's been up from there. It
really has, no question about it. You've put in 2 great years at Ohio. what was your mindset? I mean, because it's interesting that we get a chance to speak with you because we were just talking about the transfer portal from a football perspective. When you decide to make a move, and of course Ohio recruited you, you were able to flourish there. What was going into your mind though about deciding to move to try to move on in your mind to, I guess, to a Power 5 university? Why did you decide to go into the transfer portal ultimately?
One reason I wanted to find a guard-oriented offense, and I wanted to find the right fit. And I just felt like I know Alabama is that school because I watched them play. They put where they're finna put five players in the pros in the past 3 years. So that just speaks for itself, and they're all guards.
How tough of a decision was it for you to put your name in the transfer portal? When did you kind of get that feeling that maybe you did want to put your name in the portal? Was it one of those things where once the season ended, you felt that way? Or was it, hey, I'm going to give this time, I'm going to give it a few days, and then I'm going to make that decision? How did that all kind of come to fruition?
Well, I talked to my family, and it was like, I want to say a week later after the season, and I just really prayed about it, talked to my family, and the decision, it was not easy at all. It was because one, I do love Ohio University, but it was I felt like I just wanted to be on a bigger stage. I felt like I was still overlooked, so that led to my decision to enter in the transfer portal.
Yeah, and I know it was the hardest part, and then we're going to focus on how excited you've got to be coming home. But was the hardest part maybe having the meeting with Jeff Bowles, who, of course, recruited you and helped you flourish there, but telling him that you wanted to potentially, move up to a bigger stage and continue to grow as a player?
Yes, I mean, that was really the hardest part, of just having to tell the coach that gave you a scholarship and gave you the key to that program. It was really hard, but it's all love in here.
Well, you mentioned going into the portals like being officially, or not officially, but being like recruited again right out of high school. So after those 2 days came along, we know Alabama reached out to you, but what other schools reached out to you along that journey?
Well, Texas reached out, Miami, Mississippi State, Georgetown. It was Florida, LSU, Notre Dame, Creighton.
So you had
it was like I ended up with like around 30 plus.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, West Virginia and Gonzaga were mentioned as well. So you definitely had options that you could meet with anyone. I know relationships are a big part of recruiting, Mark, and having you play in the state of Alabama for 4 years, and you were even a stalwart as an 8th grader at Muscle Shoals High School. But I know that your relationship with Antoine Petway was a big part of this.
Correct, it was. I've seen he pulled in guys like Colin Sexton, Herb Jones, Primo, and Kyra Lewis, and they're all guards. So I wanted to join that next list of great guards.
Well, now that you're headed to Alabama, what's been the conversations with Nate Oates?
Yeah, what was their sales to you?
It's like he's basically saying you really fit our system, and the whole coaching staff really, really like you and want you. And I felt the same way because I really love how they play. I love how they get up and down. I feel like that really fits my game to the T because I love getting out in transition, and I love shooting the pull-up three. So that's really what sold me.
Yeah, and I know in your game, one thing I love about your game is you do a lot of different things well. You're a very good rebounder for a guard. You always were on the high school level. You've done that, and it's translated on the college level. I know you'll be able to help there. And I just think you being a lefty, that it gives you some advantages there. It's a little bit of a different look. And I think you've always a really good free throw shooter, but is maybe the biggest improvement in your game your 3-point shooting? Because I know this year as a sophomore you shot nearly 41% at Ohio University. How much work have you put in the gym to improve your 3-point shot?
Right. So all summer from like May 10th to like August 23rd. I made 15,003.
Wow, it's some work.
So I really feel like that because shooting the ball is just confidence. Once you see the ball go through the rim, it builds confidence. So I feel like a lot of reps that really helped me elevate my 3-point shooting.
Mm-hmm. Well, you walk into an Alabama team, Mark, that's going to be a little bit different than it was last year. A lot of new names, a lot of new faces, including yourself. Does that make it a little easier to come into?
Yeah, yes, sir. It did. You know, it's a lot of great talent on that roster. But my overall goal is to play in the Final Four. So that's the reason why I wanted to come, because I feel like I know we can do that here.
Well, and you're certainly going to be a part. I mean, even as a transfer now, you were very familiar with the 5-man recruiting class they put together. It's a top 3 group, but also now you kind of put your other hat on because I'm assuming you're still slated to visit for A-Day, visit Alabama. That Jalen Bridges is going to visit that same weekend. A wing player from West Virginia. Now, do you put your own recruiting hat on to try to help add pieces to this roster? Because I know there's still a spot or two open.
Yes, sir. We want to. I'm going to continue to do that. I want to. Hopefully, we want him to come down and commit. So yeah, I'm turning into a recruiter.
No question. And have you been in much contact with some of the other guys, the signees like the Jaden Bradleys and the Brandon Millers? I know that a lot of times Coach Oates likes to build relationships within the squad, and you guys start becoming familiar with each other. You haven't played with those guys, but have you talked with any of the signees yet?
Yes, sir, I have. I talked to Brandon Miller, Jaden Bradley. I talked to those 2 younger guys so far. But, yeah, I really like those guys. They're going to be special.
Mm-hmm. There's no doubt, and I think everyone's excited about you coming back home. And how big a factor was that as well? I mean, certainly you wanted to find the best fit in school for you, and you wanted to find a guard-oriented system. But how perfect was it to be able to come back home and play in front of your family? And now they only have potentially an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to see you.
Yeah, like that was the icing on the cake. I mean, having my family, having your family, friends, all behind you, being able to come and support you. I mean, that's an unbelievable. That can be an unbelievable experience.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we are looking forward to you coming back home, no doubt about it. I mean, it's an amazing one. And I've got to ask you too, because as we said to start the interview, it's about a little over a week that you went into the portal. What was the motivation to commit so soon? I know you had some visits set up. You visited with some other teams, like they came to see you, they spoke with you. Once you went into the portal, that's the way the process works. But what was the decision like? Why did you decide to commit within a week and go ahead and get this rolling?
So when I first went in the portal, I kind of made a list.
Yeah.
Now I made a list of schools and that I really liked. So I feel like a week later, I knew where I wanted to go, and it's just best not to hold it in and wait. So that I felt like I just had to get it out the way.
And then for the listeners, your skill set, what has Alabama told you about your role, and what do you think you bring to this team that's going to be something that maybe potentially they were missing this year? Because they had a good season, but they fell a little short in March, and at the end of the year they didn't end the way they wanted to. But what are you bringing to this team to help Alabama, as you said, potentially make that first Final Four run?
First, I'm a winner. Everywhere I've been, I've proved that I'm a winner. Second, I'm a play hard. I'm a bring toughness, and I'm a bring leadership. I'm a great teammate. And really, just leading by example and picking up and encouraging my players.
Mm-hmm. And my final question for you, because I wasn't sure about this, and I wrote yesterday that it was 2 years, but do you have 2 or 3 years of eligibility? Because the COVID year throws me still.
Yeah, so technically I have 3 years of eligibility to go.
Oh, wow. So potentially could be up to 3 years, and I know your ultimate goal is to reach the NBA. Well, again, we've been honored to watch you at Muscle Shoals, and then, of course, you did a great job in your year at Hargrave, and we've been monitoring you at Ohio University. And when you went into the portal, everybody's antenna went up because we knew there was a chance that you could come back home and play. But we appreciate it for you giving us the opportunity to have you on our airwaves and do your first real radio interview since you made your decision. We can't wait to see you. And I guess when will you be, reporting to campus and workouts for Alabama?
Around like late May.
So late May, Mark Sears will be on the floor with an Alabama practice gear on. We can't wait for that as well. Well, man, congratulations. There's nothing like coming home, being able to play on the highest level of college basketball. Continued success. You've been a great player on the high school and college level thus far. But congratulations on your decision, Mark, and we really appreciate you joining Talkin' Ball this morning for a few minutes.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Mark Sears with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.